can't quite get my words together. I'm just thinking about it out loud, and it's interesting how this shorts really makes you have to condense what you want to say to a short, like concise, gets to the point type of thing. It encourages that, at least gets to the point of what you want to say. And I was sitting here just thinking, trying to figure out what I wanted to say, and I couldn't figure it out. So I guess I'm just gonna I'm just gonna just talk out loud about my thoughts on the judges. Oh, I'm stuck in this, aren't I? You want to stop streaming? Okay. So now I'm stuck in the color palette. I choose normal, I choose beam, and now I just can't get out of it. Okay. So I guess I'm gonna just have all these choices here in front of me. So I'm just sitting here trying to decide on how do I message myself? How do I make a message about juries? Because it's like it goes a couple different ways for me. It's like, okay, what if I say city judges should have a fundamental right to to hold jury trials, right? I mean, that's simple, but I can't quite fit that into 15 seconds. See, it's harder for me to read messages. I chose this color palette, and I just can't get out of it. And now it's limited my ability to see the messages. Save highlight, share, mute microphone. Oh, what if I did this? Nope, that doesn't do it. What if I did comments? Live chat? No, it's still stuck. Yeah, YouTube's got some. Oh, there. Oh, you just got to hit it again. Okay, I got it. Yeah, so should shitty judges be allowed the right to hold jury trials? Is that something that we should propose? Like, allow why is there a judge out there? uh why aren't all judges allowed to hold jury trials? That's something I don't understand. Like, if a judge is not allowed to hold jury trials, it's not given that option, are they really a judge? I mean, there's if you're gonna put limitations on these judges, I mean, I can understand, like, territorial limitations, but limitations for how they conduct the courtroom uh, is going to cause various issues. You're going to get different results from a courtroom based on different limitations. So if the judge says, "Sorry, I can't hold a jury trial," but you're still stuck with me, you're going to have a fundamentally different result that comes from that that type of setup than any other. Sorry, I can't hold a jury trial, but you're still stuck with me. It's just ridiculous. It puts you at more of a tyrannical. Uh, uh, you're more at the it's you're more at the mercy of the scrutiny of a tyrant than you are the public. All right, the scrutiny of the public versus the scrutiny of just a few tyrants, just a couple tyrants in the area that love picking on people, get full access to picking on you without a check and balance in place. Uh, and the least experienced, yeah, the least experienced. Is it an experience thing? How else do you get experience? It's one of those conundrums where you need experience to do the job, but if you can't experience it, then how do you get the experience? So what do you do? Like, you give if Louisiana is going to be so screwed up and not let judges hold jury trials, then that takes away fundamental rights for the defendants. You can't speak like the place your speech should be the most protected. A courtroom, you can't speak, can't tell the jury about nullification. Well, I mean, you can do it, but you'll have somebody there to shout you down. It's not just a one-sided argument in court. I could speak right now whatever the heck I want, but in court there's another side to it. But juries are a right for judges, actual judges, not just for people. All right, it's a right for everybody. And since the judge is like, sorry, I can't hold a jury, since I don't have that right, you don't get that right either, and you're still stuck with me when you request a jury. I mean, every city court, you at least, as a defendant, every defendant at least should put on record that they requested a jury, even though they know, even if they know that they're not allowed a jury. Whatever case is pending against you, you have the right. You need to request a jury. Make that clear, and at least have it explained to you why they say that you cannot. Why it's not a right. Why you're taken out of the public scrutiny part of the crime, and put in only, you're limited to only the tyrannical scrutiny of the crime, no matter what it may be, a misdemeanor or whatever. So yeah, and the Court of Appeals is not a jury. They're still a part of the tyrannical structure going straight up. It's the, I mean, the U.S. Supreme Court will probably wonder, what did the jury say? Did this defendant request a jury? And they'll see that they went through the judge. Well, if they see that, if the U.S. Supreme Court sees, like my case, go through only the judge, I hope they ask, okay, did Travis request a jury? Did Travis want the city judge to decide on his case? I mean, I hope they ask that in those higher courts. And if they see that, oh, he didn't have a choice, well, that should be a big factor. And they should be aware that there's a tyrannical structure that Travis is stuck in. This decision making was made purely on the basis of tyranny than in a public setting. So the jury should. How does if the city court is not allowed to hold jury trials, then it's just like, that's it. That's how it ends. It's not like, oh, the defendant gets an option. The defendant can go to district court and then request a jury where a jury is actually allowed. For a misdemeanor where you're facing time in jail, you don't get a jury trial. And the judge is like, oh, sorry, I can't hold jury trials, and you're stuck in my court. I'm not giving up. The judge protests against being excluded, stepping down. The judge protests against stepping down. So and there's a whole there's thought process that goes into that, and you wonder how does that play out. It's the judge, if they're not allowed public scrutiny. And I mean, I was exposed to a judge who's not allowed jury trial, and also he goes further than that. The city judges go further than that, in that they try to make my trial private, and they get mad at me for involving other people, telling other people who have something to say. He gets mad at me. Imagine if this was an actual jury trial. Imagine if a jury trial was allowed. This judge would not have sentenced me to 30 days in jail because there was a public outcry. If there was a jury trial involved, there was an aspect of the public involved, and he wouldn't be so quick to have sentenced me to 30 days over people saying things, over me not saying enough for them to stop it. All right, it's that it's quite interesting how deeply secretive they've gotten, and they're allowed to get based on the Louisiana laws. All right, it's not just one little thing. Oh, you're not allowed juries. It's turned. It's like an expanding thing beyond just, oh, you're not allowed juries. Oh, you're not allowed a lawyer. Oh, you're not allowed the public to see. No recordings. Oh, we're it's more than that. It's taken all that public interference out of the tyrannical process of the court system. It's just like they were just leapfrogging on each other, and it's gotten me 30 days because of you guys. So who do I get mad at? I mean, it's you guys who voted these people in. So you guys allowed this to happen without protest. You guys allowed these tyrants to keep my trial, all right, secret, to keep the jury out of it, to withhold the lawyer, to withhold like a public lawyer for me. It's the public that has done this to me, and in a lot of ways, the judge gets mad at me from the public backlash against more him. Why isn't there public backlash against me as the defendant for this crime? All right, he's getting most of the let's say he's getting most of the criticism here, or he claims to be. I don't know, because he didn't present any evidence. All right, this was a crime I was charged with without any evidence. All right, it's a part of the sentencing guidelines, and the sentencing guidelines are like, I was charged with a crime without it being labeled. He just kind of gave it in his speech. It was sentencing guidelines saying that I incited riots, or I didn't stop the riots, like, and that's like a criminal charge, but it was a part of the sentencing guidelines. After I was found guilty, I was given extra criminal charges practically for just making just talking about my trial process. So I watched Long Island Audit says he's doing live stream or something in the courtroom. He's gotten approval for a live stream. But it's incredible how this secretive nature of the court process on the city court level is just expands. As I want to go in and sit and observe the proceedings. Oh, sorry. You need to have a purpose to be here. All right. It's secretive from the observer's point of view. Only if you have business there, only if you've been arrested and have a charge, can you show up. Then you're allowed to show up. Because you're identified, and it's clear you have a purpose to be there. You can't just be there as a stranger, as an observer. Oh no, the city court don't like that. You are shunned. You're not allowed a lawyer. You're not allowed a jury trial. You're not allowed recordings of the court, only through their transcriptions, only through the transcriptionist who minces words. She screws up entire statements. All right, because she knows she's the only one who has access to the voice transcripts, and so she could she has full access. Nobody else is allowed exclusive access to the voice transcripts, and so she can change some wordings around. So it's all this secretive system, and they find that because people, the less we know, the less we can dispute. Well, I think that, you know, it's bad if they make a public decision that doesn't sound right, but I think it's even worse when it's secretive. It's even worse when you don't know. It's worse when you don't know. All right? That should be more, the bigger eye opener is when you don't know. All right? Then if you know what the bad decision is, 30, uh like, I don't know, there's levels of concern with that. There's the cover up is the biggest concern overall, not knowing anything. And then after that, it's what the decision is. So two levels there. It's just incredible to me. I'm like, I rattle my brain about this. I can't put it into 15 seconds. I was just sitting here trying to think, you know, how could I just make a quick statement and think about it? And it's just, there's so much to it. There's different ways that it could go because it's just so screwed up in Louisiana. All right, the city judge should be allowed to hold jury trials. If they're going to be holding misdemeanor criminal trials that throw us in jail, they should be they should be given that power. They're given all the other power. They're given full sentencing power. All right, but they're limited with the process of adjudication. They're limited with the process of the court procedures. Oh, we're not allowed this. We're not allowed that. And then when they get to the sentencing, they're given full access to the sentencing guidelines. They should be limited on that. All right? You don't just limit half the nature of the criminal process. You got to limit the whole, from the beginning to end, all the way through. and the Judge Owsley in the city court, he was just kind of reading off this sentencing guideline. Oh, you incited riots under 7B1 or whatever, and he was just, sentenced under sentencing guidelines. There was no talk about how he's limited on sentencing guidelines. It was just he had full access to that. All right, he ignores constitutional issues. And it's just kind of a flip of the coin. Does it sound constitutional or not? Let's not evaluate cases. Let's not evaluate case law. Does it just kind of off the cuff? Like he said, off bat. Does it sound... That's what he says, off the bat. Does it sound constitutional? Yes or no in this city court. All right. He's working within a limited jurisdiction. He works off the bat, and then after he finds me guilty, in a court where I'm not allowed public scrutiny, he totally limits it. Then it's full sentencing guidelines after that, and then he doesn't exclude himself. I still have to show up every 3 months to tell him I'm not paying. We're waiting on the Court of Appeals decision. Really, we should be waiting on a jury's decision. All right, replace the Court of Appeals with an actual jury. All right, I appeal to a jury. All right, not more Judge Owsley sitting in the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. All right, a group. Oh, I got one Judge Owsley I have to go through, and then I appeal. I pay $20,000. Go to see what 5 more Judge Owsleys sitting in place. All right, and then what? I appeal them, and then go see more Judge Owsleys at the state Supreme Court. All right, where's the jury part? All right, there is no. I mean, yeah, the government needs the overlapping and whatever. Oh, you don't think the locals? I talked to some locals who sounded sympathetic to me. I mean, the ones I talked to, I think would decide in my favor. All right. I don't know who you've been talking to, Tour USA, but I talked to some people who are in my favor. So It depends on who you're talking about. So it's yeah, and that's the thing. That's the attitude that Tour has. Uh, he's sharing the attitude of the judges. They're like the people. They don't make the right decisions, so we all the decisions have to be placed in the judges' hands with their limited scope of knowledge. Do any of them fish? Do any of them go to sports games? I mean, how common and in touch with the regular people are these judges? All right. I just read on their website that because there was a little storming going on in Lake Charles, they had to close the courthouse at noon. All right. And the storm wasn't that bad, but that's the decision they make. They gotta wimp out on these storms at their courthouse, at their little courthouse across the street from that massive apartment complex that's abandoned, completely abandoned, but still standing, from 20 floors, and the whole thing, five apartment complexes, 20 floors, just wide, long, just huge, all abandoned. And yet their courthouse is not abandoned for some reason. How does that work? That area has spotty abandonment. It's not about me being liked. It's not. It's about the system and how the system works. There's fairness and unfairness, and most reasonable people can understand what sounds fair to them. Is this something I would? Is this a decision I would make? Is this how I want other people to be treated? All right, you ask those questions, and Judge Owsley, I mean, whatever world he's in, and obviously the prosecutor Benjamin too, and the cops. I mean, the cops who stole my magnets, Judge Owsley who stole my voice recorder, and time, and the cops stole my time. They don't. That I mean, they don't. The questions they ask are not, is this how I want to be treated? They just want to sit in a position to be the ones treating everybody unfairly, and just enjoying that kind of those power trips going on. But within their power, yeah, they go on power trips within their limited power. All right, and this power was granted to them by you guys. All right, by the locals. All right, you've given the government power of secrecy, a huge step towards secrecy. I mean, and recently, even pornography has been severely limited in Louisiana now. I can't even go to Pornhub. 4chan is in a perpetual loop of saying that there's a security issue, and I need to keep checking the check mark, and I check it, and it goes to another thing. I need to hit this dot, and then it's just a loop back and forth, and that wasn't happening before. It's a perpetual loop. Apparently, on January 1st, all websites pornography related are off limits, even on not just even on your own, even on my own hotspots. It's almost as bad as Utah. Utah was one of the worst states for pornography, and now Louisiana, I think, took a step ahead of that. But it's the secrecy part, and they're just going, yeah. How much do you pay for? Oh, okay, McCucumber. How much do you pay for VPN? Uh, it's a secrecy step, but it just keeps going. How much further? How much further can they get with all this secrecy, hiding everything? Just yeah, I mean, except unless if you have a criminal record, that is publicly made very made very easy to access. Um, your criminal record is more public than a public employee's like history record. Yeah, but who's paying? How much? What do you guys pay on average for VPN? Right? Is that it? Yeah. How much do you pay for VPN? Yeah. Why doesn't 4chan have is but Tor is in Louisiana. Tor, see, your problem is you're in Louisiana. You got to leave Louisiana, and you'll probably start seeing porn banners on 4chan again. All right, Louisiana is blocking it. All right, the internet has gotten a little more sophisticated. Since you were a kid. All right, and they can pinpoint where you are exactly, so that they can apply the certain measures and ads and limitations for where you're at. As soon as I get out of Louisiana and go into Mississippi, the all the ad blocks, all the blocks are going to be pulled. All right, all the websites you'll find that there's going to be all of a sudden there's this whole other internet that's available to the public when you leave Louisiana. All right. so they're extremely secretive, and they don't want to really explain. I appreciate that Judge Owsley explained his crazy sentencing, his crazy conviction. So I expect the Third Circuit Court of Appeals to also take some time to explain themselves. And that's the thing. I think they're probably really trying hard to rationalize Judge Owsley's decision, and it's taking them a little longer than usual because they're having a difficult time trying to sound reasonable in supporting Judge Owsley's decision. I think they're really struggling with that. I think they're going for supporting Judge Owsley's decision, but they're struggling. They're really digging deep to find why they support it. All right, and not sound crazy, because they might be aware that this might go public. That I'll definitely want to talk about their decision. And I mean, the worst decision is not to explain themselves. The worst decision is to be secretive about it. But where do you go from there? All right, it's like I'm still. It's been 367 days since I reported reported my situation to the internal affairs officer in Natchitoches. I've waited over a year now for Lieutenant Williams to come up with a conclusion on my complaint, and she still has no answer. All right, it took the Williston police investigators 2 weeks to exonerate the cops. If you're going to exonerate the cops, then do it and make it known. I mean, what sense is there to have an internal affairs officer who's supposed to be conducting these investigations who has no conclusions? Does she have a conclusion about anything? What is she getting paid for? Just to stand for pictures? To try to look important for pictures? So it's, yeah, I did mention a seatbelt. Yeah, I wait outside Judge Owsley's courthouse, and that's what I was doing last year at this time, from January 20 something to April 11th. Pretty much just hanging out in Natchitoches, trying to figure out what their problem was, trying to figure out why they won't leave me alone. Learning all about this crazy Louisiana law, which, I have to admit, I've forgotten some now. I haven't been really practicing Louisiana law. I haven't been making the arguments in a long time. But I was doing that at this time last year, from January, February, January, March, April, 4 months almost, and now it's been great. I was intending to leave Louisiana a little bit quicker, but I stuck around just checking out a little bit more. I wanted to check out the coast, and it's been very fascinating to me to see the changes across the landscape. It's something I wish I would have just taken care of last year, gotten that instead of getting stressed out by this whole court ordeal with the Judge Ousley's limited jurisdiction. He's limited in granting lawyers juries, but he's not limited in giving sentences. All right, he's limited in so much except for sentences. He's got full access, and it's just amazing how that works. All right. Somebody doing a little shopping there. So it's just something I can't make a 15-second little clip about talking about how juries should be structured better. It's not an issue that I would even think about in other states. It's like, okay, if we're going to be so limited and secretive, then it should be across the board. All right, all rules, all everything should have a limitation. If you don't just limit a little aspect of your job. I thought I was going to be lost for good. I don't know how much more juice I have on this. Maybe I should stop here. I don't have much else to say. I can't. I still got to think about this. What did you assume the judge say the video that throw the charge out had to? Oh yeah, the video. It was how much the evidence of the video seemed to have strengthened their resolve more and make them focus. They took their focus away from the video and put it on where there was not video. So you gotta they encourage you to video every day, every second of your life, and then if you skip a moment of your life, then they'll try to find something. They'll try to make up something criminal that you did during that moment that you failed to record. And I'll say that wait, the video supported. Oh yeah. Tour is a local Louisianan. He doesn't understand what's happening outside of his country. All right, I got this now. This let's see. I turn it on with the battery. All right, it's supposed to plug into the lighter, but um, this now I'm making more record of my driving without even thinking about it. I just turn it on and then forget about it. So I'm making more record with a dash cam, but you know, it's just you only got so much battery and saving and an SD card life. So yeah, I'm gonna stop it here.